glad to have him with us coming from Houston, inshallah. So I'll hand it over to him to talk about the new year, new resolutions, and new you.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, wa sahbihi wa sallam wa ala. Give me 1 second so I can take a look at my notes. How's everyone doing tonight? How many of y'all are new to College Station this semester? None of you? MashaAllah. One over there? Okay. MashaAllah. It's a great community. I've been here only a couple of times, but every time I come, I go back and tell Houston that we need to relearn hospitality from the small town folks. But alhamdulillah, it's always great to be back, and like Zahid was mentioning, I just wanted to share some stuff with you today from a different angle, and I'll explain that. That every one of us wants to accomplish something. We set out to do something, and most often than not, we end up giving up halfway or even before we start. And this applies to anything in our life, in our professional life, our academic life, our family life. There are a lot of things we want to do, but we start, we get excited, it kind of dies down, then we go to a lecture again, then we get excited again. It dies down again, then we find a friend doing it, so we get excited again, and then eventually our failures become so much we just give up, or we accept the fact that we're defeated. Hey, that's it, I give up. And then we become numb and put it in the back of our mind, and then later on in life we have regrets, I should have done this, I could have done that. And all of us feel that. And there's not a single person in this room who feels some sort of regret. They could have done something that they did not. So inshallah, today I want to take a different angle. We all know that the blessings is from Allah. Anything that we set out to do, if Allah blesses it, it will continue. We have to make dua, and Allah, all results are in Allah's hands. We understand that, but Allah has given us a task as well. He's told us to do a certain part. So what I'm going to focus on is that part. And the main idea is around what I'll talk about is how to build, break, or get into a habit that you want to get. So if you want to break a habit, if you want to build a habit, how to do so. And there's practical steps. It's not like, sit at home and make dua. It's not that kind of stuff. We all know that's the core of it. That's the essence of it. If you're sincere, if you have ikhlas, Allah will bless it. What steps can you and I take to do that? And at the same time, I give you a disclaimer. I don't claim to master these things. My wife will tell you the opposite. And it's much of a reminder for me as it is for you. So the first thing is that so there are 5 things I'm going to talk about. I'll break it down into 5 steps. And all these steps, inshallah, if you can either just remember them, take a note on your phone, I think they will really benefit you. They will really benefit you, and each of you have a different application in your life. So keep a note of them somehow. So the first thing is that there are very few people who don't want to live an average life. If I ask someone over here, how many of you want to be, healthy, live a healthy life? Everyone's going to raise their hand. And I ask you, how many of you doing something about it? 90% of the hands will go down. If I ask, how many of you want to memorize Quran? Everyone put their hand up. Ask you, how many of you doing something about it? Everyone's hand will go down. So we say we want to be excellent in our life, but our lives don't reflect that. We're just average people. We're normal people. We don't want to be excellent. So this drive of becoming excellent is gone. And that's the concept of ihsan. It's a part of our deen. Allah has asked us whenever we do something, we become the best at it. And it's not just amongst the Muslims. It's be the best at it, period. So this drive really has to come back. And this is not even the first point. This was before the first point. That's something I wanted to share with you. So number 1, the first point, is that you have to grill this concept in your mind. No pain, no gain. If you want to improve, if you want to build a habit, if you want to break a habit, you want to get somewhere, you have to go through some pain. You have to. If you're thinking I'm going to achieve something the easy way, it's not real achievement, it's not real success. You have to struggle. The more you struggle, the sweeter the result is. And the elders in the room will tell us that more than anyone else. MashaAllah, they've gone through life much more than we have. And they've experienced much more than we have. And they'll tell you that the harder you work for something, the sweeter it is at the end. So this concept of that I'm going to get something the easy way, no way, it's not going to happen. If you don't want to feel pain, go home, go in bed and cry. You're not going to get anywhere. If you want to build a habit or break a habit, you have to go through pain. And the simplest example is of working out in the gym. Who can tell me what the basic concept of muscles is? How do you build muscle?
Excessive strain.
You
Hypertrophy.
So you strain your muscles to the point where they what? They break down. You feel the burn. You recover and you recover stronger. That's how your muscles grow. That's the concept. That you have to push yourself so hard that you feel the burn, you feel the pain, and then when you come back, it comes back stronger, so your limit is pushed up. That's the basic concept. If you want to get anywhere, understand that pain is a part of it. It's always going to be there. And I'm not going to give you examples from the Quran and the Sunnah because there's so many. And Allah shows us in the life of the Messenger of Allah, his whole life is a living example of this. Why did he have to go through all that pain? Couldn't have Allah just given him everything? He wanted him to struggle so that the result at the end could be sweeter. So that's number one. No pain, no gain. You're not going to struggle, you're not going to taste sweetness. You're not going to taste the sweetness of success in whatever you're trying to achieve. The second thing is, it's actually a very simple concept, and this is an actual item. So now, let's take it step by step. We understand, hey, if we have to struggle, we have to feel pain. I get that. Okay, what next? Now, let's take a solid example so we can kind of, make sense of it. All of us, again, I was saying specific. Suppose one of you wants to, studying engineering, and eventually when they graduate, they want to open an engineering firm. They have family maybe overseas. They have ideas about their family, their work. There's so many things they want to go do, their places they want to travel. A lot of stuff in their head. And it stays in your head. Now let me ask you this, and I'll give you a very simple example, and all of you, inshallah, will understand it. Niagara Falls. All of you know Niagara Falls, right? Who does not know Niagara Falls? How does everyone knows Niagara Falls? It's on the border of Canada and the US. It's a beautiful waterfall. It's, everyone in the world knows it and sees pictures of it. Now, if I told you there's a prime property right next to Niagara Falls that I'm going to give to you, free of charge. It's prime property. Tourists come there, everything is great about it. And I ask you, hey, it's yours. What are you going to build on it? Would you say, I'm going to build a mechanic shop? Are you going to say that? Are you going to say, hey, I'm just going to build a hole-in-the-wall restaurant? You're going to say, I'm going to build the best 5-star hotel in that area. Why? Because you have prime property. You're not going to use it for something useless. You have this prime property, you're going to say, hey, I need to take full advantage of this. Let me ask you something. Is your brain, is your intellect more valuable than a piece of land? Yes. So why do you waste it storing phone numbers in there? Why do you waste it storing useless information that can be written down and you can always come back to look at it? And it's such a simple concept, but we fail to understand that. Get everything out of your brain. And this first step is called brain dumping. It's called brain dumping. So number one was no pain, no gain. Number two is brain dumping. And I would advise all of you to actually go do this. Categorize the paper. So you have academic, you have work, you have family, you have business, you have social life. You all have tons of ideas that are stuck in your head and they're blocking your head. It's like stuffed in there. You have all these ideas, but you're not bothering to write them down. You just kind of throw them in the back of your head and it stays there. Get them out. Take 1 or 2 hours of your day, someday on a weekend, Saturday, Sunday's coming up, say, I'm just going to write everything in my head. I guarantee you, inshallah, after you do that, you will be like, wow, I can feel like a breeze going through my head. I can actually feel some brain space emptied up. You will feel relieved. Inshallah, I guarantee you that. Once you have everything out, because now you're not worried, hey, will I forget about it or not? It's on paper, you're not going to forget, or you're going to type it out. So if you want to start making a change in your life, you have to do that. And what's the example? If this bottle was empty and it had dirt in it, and I wanted to refill it, what would the steps be? Can someone tell me? It's a dirty bottle, but I want to fill water in it. What would the steps be? Clean it and then put water in it. Why do you try to add stuff to your life without cleaning the bad stuff in it? You don't take a glass which is dirty and say, hey, I'm going to put water and drink it. You're going to clean the glass out first. We keep adding stuff to our life without cleaning anything. That's why when you add something good to junk and dirt, it's going to become dirt. So this concept of brain dump, every master, time management guru, all the CEOs of large companies, they've all mastered it. They don't keep anything in their head because they don't need to. They leave it for intellectual thought. They leave it for processing. They don't leave it for number storage or for ideas that can be written down and they can completely forget about it. So if you want to start, if you want to go anywhere, you have to do that. If you want to make a change in your life. People think that, December 31st, 11 p.m., January 1st, 9 a.m., I'm going to be a different human being. You're the same person in the next year. You have all these ideas, you're not going to change because nothing changed. So number one was no pain, no gain. Number two, you have to sit down and brain dump. If you don't want to do this again, just go home. It's not going to happen. You can try many ways. And all this stuff I'm telling you, I didn't make this up. This is a compilation of all the best time management, leadership, motivational speaking, all that kind of stuff. You'll find these 5 things are the skeleton of all of them. So if you don't believe me, go pick up a book and believe them. So brain dump. You get everything out of your head. Even if you have to sit there, write 10 pages, write till you cannot write anymore. Or type till you cannot type anymore. Empty your brain because it's too valuable just to store numbers. Your brain is too valuable just to store useless information that can be saved on your phone. Or saved on your computer. Or saved anywhere. So that's number 2, brain dump. Alright, so we got, what was the first one? No pain, no gain. Number 2? Brain dump. Number 3. Alright, so now we got everything out. We can breathe easy. We have, we have a lighter burden. Or our burden is gone. Now you're like, hey, okay, what next? I took the first 2 steps in my path to changing. What's the next step? The next step is, sounds like a fancy word, but it's not. Self-analysis. All of us have natural habits and patterns that we already have. You have a different, pattern in your daily life or your weekly life. I have one different. He has one different. She has one different. Everyone has different schedules. Even if it's not a structured schedule, it's some sort of schedule. And mark this concept down. Unless you track it, it's not going to improve. Unless you track it, you keep track of it, it's not going to improve. So the third, self-analysis, is without changing anything, track yourself for 2 weeks. All the main areas in your life. If you want to say, hey, I want to see how much I pray, how many salawat I pray in the masjid. How often do I go to the gym? Or how often do I call my mom? Or how often do I go out with my family? Don't try to change anything. Just write these down and be like, hey, for the next 2 weeks, I'm just going to keep track of it naturally. I'm not going to try to change anything. Because unless you know where you are, you don't know where to go. So the first point, you have to understand where you are. Hey, where do I stand? What's point A and point B, right? If you don't know what point A is, you're not going to go anywhere. So it's very simple, and there's so many tools out there that can use this. And I'm actually getting to practical tools. All of you know Google Forms, right? Google Docs has something called Google Forms. Create a form where you don't have to, every day sit down, draw lines, and start tracking. Just make it something easy. Get an app on your phone. There's so many awesome apps where you can just track, stuff in your life. You can create these categories. Just keep track of things. At the end of 2 weeks, you have enough information to be like, hey, wow, I didn't know I do this every day. Hey, I didn't know I had this trend or this pattern in my life. hey, I'm not doing enough of this. You'll be like, hey, wow, I read Quran like once in the last 2 weeks. Hey, that has to change. So you know where you are. So the third thing is self-analysis. You have to know where you are. And like I was saying, there's so many apps on Android and even iPhone or the iPad that are amazing at doing this. So you don't have to, write. You don't have to make a lot of effort. Just pull out your phone and be like, hey, done. Checked or unchecked. And all of you, those of you that ever tried to keep track of something, when it starts looking ugly, you stop tracking it. You're like, you have to, especially it happens in Ramadan, right? Like, okay, 30 days, 1, 2, 3, I'm going to do this, this, this. Day 4, you're like, oh, forget it anyway, I'm not even doing it, khalas, done. It happens to everyone, just like the semester, all of you are pumped right now about a class, and then halfway through you'll be like, I think I need to drop this class. So when it doesn't look pretty, you just stop tracking it. Get over that. Understand the bigger picture that, hey, no matter how ugly it looks right now, I'm just trying to know where I am. I'm just trying to understand where I am. And again, once you do that, you're going to know, hey, what is my life schedule? Without even me trying to make one. So these are the 3 steps. So number 1 was what? Number 2? Brain dump. Number 3? Self-analysis. All right. Number 4. Number 4 is a very, very common misconception. And that is multitasking. People think the better they are at multitasking, the more successful they are. That is 100% scientifically proven to be untrue. The more and just look at it this way. You have 100%, right? When you divide that by 2, what do you get? 50. When you divide that by 4, what do you get? So you're giving one thing 100% before, now you're giving it 50%. Is it going to be better or worse? Logically speaking. You're giving it less. You're spreading out your attention to more things, which doesn't make sense. They've actually, I don't know if it was Stanford or Yale or someone, they actually took the college students, they just said, hey, come into this lab and do whatever you want to do. And they tracked them for I think 6 or 7 months or even a year. And all the people that multitasked versus the ones who don't, it was like sky and earth difference. Like multitasking does not work. Multitasking does not work. And this doesn't apply to everything, it's just to the larger things in life. I mean, you can watch your child and, play with your child and watch TV at the same time. I mean, not talking about stuff like that. Stuff like, hey, I'm going to do my homework, I'm going to watch the game, I'm going to be chatting with my, my friend, all of that stuff. It doesn't work. And you all know it doesn't work. So the point that I'm getting to is that focus on one thing you want to change. So let's go step by step. You dumped everything out of your brain. You did a self-analysis. Now you know the things in your life that you need to fix. Let's take an example. My goal is to pray Fajr in the masjid every day. That's my goal. It can be anything, going to the gym every day. I'm just taking an example. Now, your only goal in life for the next 20 days should be making it to Fajr in the masjid. Nothing else. If you made it to Fajr, you're successful the whole day. That's it. Don't worry about, hey, I'm going to make it to Fajr, I'm going to pray all my sunnah, I'm going to read 10 pages of Quran, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to give a halaqa, I'm going to do all this. Nothing. If you accomplished your goal that day, you're successful. That's it. Focus on one thing. One thing. And it's very hard for all of us. It took me a long time to get over this. That you're like, hey, but what about, it's just a small thing, let me just do this also, let me just do this. At the end, you end up doing nothing. Take one thing and master it. And the number, the 20 days, I didn't make that up. It's actually scientifically proven, and subhanAllah, it shows you the brilliant, the hikmah in our religion. Allah knew this way before of Ramadan. 30 days back to back, you get into a habit, it's natural. If you do something for 20 days, it becomes a natural habit to you. If you can reach the 20-day mark, then it's habitual. You don't have to consciously do it. But before that, you have to fight it. And that is if you're consistent. For example, if you make it to Fajr, 20 days, inshallah, after that will become, and it's not exactly, the 21st day you'll just automatically pop up. It'll become easier. And then so much so that it'll become second nature to you. That you don't have to think about it anymore, you just do it. It becomes habitual. So focus on one thing. And one thing related to that is we're usually very hard on ourselves. For example, going back to the Fajr example, right? If suppose we're on day 5, and alhamdulillah, we came to Fajr to the masjid 5 days in a row. On the 6th day, or whatever day, take a break and reward yourself. Say, alhamdulillah, I made it to Fajr today, so I'm going to go home and sleep until I wake up. That's my reward. I'm going to make up all my sleep for the week. When you accomplish these small goals, give yourself a reward. And subhanAllah, I'll give you some resources to show that this is actually part of our deen. That Allah gives us like small increments and then small rewards along with it. It's a brilliant concept found in the Sunnah of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That when you're, suppose day 4, like I was saying, right? Day 5 you come, do something for yourself that rewards yourself. Like for example, if after Fajr, you have to go to class, on a weekend, be like, hey, I'm going to go back and sleep until I wake up. That's my reward. Or, I'm going to, if I'm going to go out for breakfast or something. Do something that you genuinely feel is a reward. It plays a lot with your mind, and I'm not going into the science behind all of this because we don't have time, but all of this stuff has a science behind it. And like I said, you read all the time management books, all these, motivational speaking and life-changing books, you'll find this concept in there. Is that stick to one thing. So to summarize the 4th point, stick to one thing and then reward yourself along the way. So let's take a concrete example of the Fajr Salah again. So there are 20 days, our goal is 1 through 20, every day we have to make it to the masjid. Or, even before that, if you don't even pray, right? Just every day I have to wake up Fajr and pray first. Then every day you're praying. On the 5th day, hey, reward time. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, hey, I made it there. Reward time. Increase your rewards. Like, if I make it to day 15, I'm buying myself a new car. Something like that, if you can afford it. But genuinely give yourself a reward. Give yourself a reward. So that's the 4th point. Now there are few. So what were the 4 points again? Let's see if you're awake or not. No pain, no gain. Brain dump. Self-analysis. Stick to one thing. Don't multitask. And to be clear about the self-analysis and getting to stick to one thing, when you do self-analysis, you'll see, hey, these are the things that I'm horrible at, and these are my strengths. So let me pick one of my weaknesses and just work on one at a time. That's what it's meant by sticking to one thing. You can't be like, oh my God, I suck in Salah, in the Quran, in school, in the gym. Everything's horrible about my life. Stick to one thing, it doesn't matter. If you're trying to aim long term, like I said, no pain, no gain. You have to go through the struggle of investing in it, building an infrastructure. Because you can be like, hey, I'm just going to jump straight into it, and then day 7, you're back to what you were before. Now, there are a few points related to that. So these 4 points. And I guarantee you, inshallah, tawfiq is from Allah. If you start implementing this, you will start telling other people to do it. Because it's such a simple thing, and all these things are so simple, yet subhanAllah, they're so effective. And the best part is they're found in the Quran and the Sunnah. These scientific, research studies only telling us this now. We knew this way before. We don't need to tell them to tell us. Right? And it's in the Sunnah. If you study productivity from the Sunnah, it's an amazing subject. Alright, so other side notes, if you want to call them, is number 1, and people find this is especially very difficult for, if you want to call it Desi folk, that get a life coach. All of you are like, no, I can do it myself. Let's see. Let's see. What is a life coach? A life coach is basically someone there are actually life coaching companies out there. Go look at it. It's someone who stands on your head and says, hey, you got to do this. If you don't, I'm going to whoop your butt. Hey, why did you do this? Basically, someone to hold you accountable. They don't actually physically hurt you. They can't. But it's like you sign up online. If it's in the same city, they'll come meet you, and they'll be like, hey, tell me your goals. So you tell them what you want. They won't tell you to do anything. You tell them this is my goal. They'll make sure you're on track. So they'll call you day 2. Hey, are you on track? Okay, why not? What's the problem? Okay, you've been hanging out with friends too much. Cut them out. You got to make it to Fajr. Get home right now. Go to sleep. that they'll keep you on track. And many people hesitate. They're like, no, I can do this myself. It's kind of an ego thing. And that it's the same concept as a personal trainer. Unless you're super motivated, unless you have someone standing there telling you what to do, you'll just be like, I'm going home. It's not going to work. It's when you have someone holding you accountable, you perform better. Never hold yourself accountable, because you'll always cut yourself some slack. But Umar ibn Khattab told us to hold ourselves accountable in terms of our deeds, not in terms of our everyday productivity, unless we're at that level. If you're at his level, great. MashaAllah, we should be learning from you. But have someone hold you accountable. Not your friend, not your wife, not someone who you're cool with and be like, whatever, leave me alone, stop bothering me. Has to be someone you have a formal relationship with. You'd be like, hey, I need to listen when they say something. So that's number one. The second side note is put down money. Put down something valuable towards your goal. And again, going back to the gym example, because it's the best. If someone says, hey, I want to start working out. I'm not going to get a personal trainer. I'm just going to go, sign up $20 a month at my local gym, and, I'm going to go over there. Okay, so a couple months pass by, $40 down the drain, they haven't gone. Does it hurt $40 in 2 months? Does it hurt? Not really, it's whatever, $20. What if you were paying $100 a month? Would you be like, man, come on, it's $100, I should go, it's $100, come on. When you put money towards it, it drives you because you feel that money's going to go to waste. That's why people who get the $10, $20 gym memberships never go. But the people in the gyms who pay $100, $120, they're always there. Because not only they're self-motivated, but they're like, hey, I'm paying these people $100 a month. I need to go make use of my money. And that's why people are afraid to put money on something, because they know they're going to fail. They'll be like, no, I know I'll end up backing out, so let me not put money towards it. When you put money towards something, or something valuable, you will be a little more motivated to do it. And that should push you a little more. And again, going back to, the concept of of time management and all these things, these people who are teaching this today, they've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars investing, like, hey, I'm going to accomplish this goal, I'm going to pay this person $5,000 to help me. They used to pay people $10,000 to stand there and help them achieve their goal. And because they know if they fail, that money's going to go to waste. And if they don't pay the money, they'll be like, I have nothing to lose, let me just stop. So when you attach monetary value to something, you're more likely to follow up with it. Just like school, you're like, man, my parents paid for this. Should I drop this class? Should I not? I came all the way here. My dad's money's going to go to waste. You think about that stuff, right? Well, you don't just drop a class and be like, I don't want to do it. You think about all the consequences attached with it. And the last point is, let me see, where you go? Yes, the last point is do your research. I've given you kind of a skeleton, like an overview of, you can actually take these things and, genuinely change your life. If you're really serious about something you want to accomplish or you want to do, you will take initiative to go and meet people who've already done it. And it's a famous quote, I don't know if all of you you've heard it or not, that they say, whatever you're trying to do in life, someone has already done it before. So the path that you're trying to walk, it's already been walked. So if you want to say, I want to graduate, get a PhD in this, and I want to go on to do this, there's more than likely than not someone's done it. So why don't you go see this person who has been successful at what you want to do, and ask them, hey, how did you get there? Isn't that just logical? If I come to you, I only have like a bachelor's from U of H. I come to you, and it's not even in engineering. If I come to you and say, hey, the career path in engineering, you need to take it this, if you want your PhD, this, dude, have you even done this? Like, no, but I read about it. You'd be like, dude, I want to go talk to someone who's actually done it. That means more to me than, coming from you. So if you want to accomplish something specific, go ask people who've already done it. And Allah's given this, and this is, subhanAllah, again, it's a concept from our religion, from the Quran. Allah says so many times, like the nations before you, like the nations before you, like the nations before you. The people before you have been through this. He's telling us, if people already gone through this, you're not new. So learn from what they did. And this is that concept not in the Quran? It's in the Quran all over. And, look back at the nations before you. This is why we did this. This is why we did that. Is go seek the people who have already done what you're trying to do. And subhanAllah, this is, I was always wanting to mention this, especially for us youth, that living in this society, we're told, or not, we're kind of influenced not to take wisdom from our elders. I mean, subhanAllah, just the fact that they have been on earth longer than we have, is that we have to respect them. They've experienced more than we have. Just the fact that they're older than us, they've been through life more than us, they know more than us, we should take from them. And the Prophet ﷺ, I can't remember the exact narration, but he said, when you see someone with a white beard or someone elderly, go learn something from them. They probably have something to offer you. No matter how know-it-all you may think you are, the elder probably has something to offer you. So whenever you see an elder, always ask them for some advice, some wisdom. They probably have something that, we'll find out 20 years later and be like, man, I wish I'd listened to that guy. All of us have been through this. And another point for us young ones is that Allah has also taught us this in the Quran, that we try to get instant gratification. It's a society of now, I want it now, and I want it my way. That you're going to learn through your mistakes. And again, the elders will tell you that. Throughout this journey of improving yourself, you're not going to be perfect. You're going to fall. You're going to make mistakes. Things are going to happen. But if you have enough motivation to keep going, these mistakes will only help you. And there's a beautiful quote that I read a couple of days ago. It said, I learned more from my failures than I have from my successes. Failure teaches you more than success. It's easy, to be successful all the time. And even when you get that, you struggle. But when you fail, it really causes you to be like, hey, where am I? Just like we were talking about self-analysis. So I know I'm kind of going all over the place, so I'll tie it up. And then inshallah, if you have any questions, we can talk about that. So the first one, again, giving a pretext to that is that, hey, we always want to do stuff, change ourselves. It's New Year's, hey, we get up, we're the same person again. Nothing magically changed, no light switch went on or off. We're still the same person. Just like people think when they go to another city, everything's going to change. When you go to that city, you're still the same person, you're you. Wherever you go, you're you. So don't expect your physical surroundings to change that. Obviously, it depends your influences. But this general concept that, hey, if I go there, I'll be okay. It's not that. You are you wherever you go. So we said that if you want to do anything in life, there's what? No, what's number one? No pain, no gain. You have to struggle, you have to feel pain, it'll make you stronger. Number two, brain dump. Get everything out of your head, don't waste your brain space. It's too valuable to just remember numbers and email addresses and addresses. Value it, do something awesome with it, get it on paper or on the computer. Number three, self-analysis. Track yourself. You have to track yourself. If you don't track it, it's not going to improve. Mark my words. If you don't actually consciously keep track of something, it's not going to improve. Number four, focus on one thing. After you do your self-analysis, pick one thing, accomplish it, master it, then move on to the other thing. Don't worry about fixing everything. Allah knows we're not angels. Allah created us as human beings. He knows we have faults. And He knows we're going to struggle. So focus on one thing. And this 3 side notes were what? Get a life coach. Put your ego to the side. Number 2, attach some value to it. And number 3, take wisdom from the elders. They have a lot to offer, and that's something in this society we're not encouraged to do. I mean, they've gone through everything that we're going through, so we have to take from the elders. So I hope that these 3 points, inshallah, benefit you. And I mean, at the end, just mentioning it, and we all know that unless you're sincere and Allah is blessing you, you're not going to get anywhere. You can do whatever you want. Results are always in the hands of Allah. Results are always in the hands of Allah. So before you even do all this, we're assuming that inshallah we're sincere. We're asking Allah to help us, And we're remembering why we're doing this. You know, it's not just be like, hey, let me do 1, 2, 3, I'll be perfect. You have to have the tawfiq, you have to have the blessings from Allah. And you have to keep asking Allah to help you along the way. At the end, it's only Allah's blessings that will get you anywhere. This is just the means. If you don't have Allah's blessings, you know, you can do whatever you want, you're not going to get anywhere. I think that is it. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Jazakallah khair, Brother Ghulam. We have a few more minutes if there are any questions or comments from the brother side or from the sister side. The sisters do have a mic.
If the elders want to add anything that we can benefit from, please do so.
Okay. Inshallah, he is around if you want to talk to him afterward. Jazakumullah khair. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq to follow the best of what was shared and reward the Ghulam. Inshallah, next week we will have another guest speaker, Brother Sheikh Islam Mus'ad from Austin, and he will be our guest khatib, and he will also be giving the Friday lesson on sharing Islam with our neighbors and some strategies on how we can do that as a preface to Islam Awareness Month, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum.